In the shadows of global finance, a storm is rising. China is preparing to challenge the very core of Western power. Its target is SWIFT, the world's most critical banking network. For decades, SWIFT has controlled the flow of trillions across borders. It has been America's silent weapon of dominance. Nations cut from SWIFT collapse into financial isolation. Economies wither, governments weaken, and leaders surrender. But Beijing is no longer willing to bow. China has built its own weapon, CIPS, the cross-border interbank payment system, a rival to SWIFT, a threat to U.S. financial supremacy, and a lifeline for nations under sanctions. With CIPS, China seeks to liberate trade from Western chains. This is not just banking, it's war by other means. SWIFT may look neutral, but it answers to Washington. It has been used to starve enemies and reward allies. From Iran to Russia, sanctions have been America's favorite tool. But what happens when those sanctions lose their bite? What happens when nations find another way? China dreams of a world where the dollar is no longer king, where oil is bought in yuan, where trade flows beyond America's control. This is Beijing's master plan. Replace SWIFT, rule finance. Imagine a fractured financial world. Two systems battling for dominance. SWIFT on one side, CIPS on the other. A silent battlefield with invisible weapons. Yet the stakes are higher than any war fought with guns. Whoever controls money controls the world. America has held that crown for decades. But China is coming for the throne. SWIFT has 11,000 member banks worldwide. It is the giant of global payments. But its power is tied to U.S. politics. And that weakness is China's opportunity. CIPS is smaller, but faster, sharper, hungrier. It promises neutrality in a divided world. For nations punished by the West, it is salvation. Russia knows this better than anyone. Cut from SWIFT after the Ukraine war, it turned to CIPS. Suddenly, China's system was no longer theory. It was lifeline. The dragon had opened its gates, and desperate nations began to enter. Iran, Venezuela, and others watched closely. For them, CIPS is a chance to breathe again. Beijing whispers promises of freedom from Western control, promises of trade without political chains, promises of a new era led by the East. Washington trembles at the thought. If the world shifts, America's dollar collapses. Inflation would roar across U.S. streets. The empire's power would slip away. Sanctions would lose their sharp edge. And global trust in the dollar would fade. But the risks go both ways. A sudden shift could crash markets worldwide. Currencies could collapse overnight. Trust could evaporate like smoke. Banking itself could fracture. And chaos could swallow economies whole. America warns the world of these dangers. China counters with promises of balance. Two narratives, two futures. And the world must choose. Beijing is not fighting alone. It has allies. Russia, India, Brazil, South Africa. The BRICS nations are uniting against the dollar. Oil giants in the Middle East are listening. Africa is turning toward Beijing's Belt and Road. Latin America is warming to Chinese loans. Slowly, the dragon builds its empire of finance, one deal at a time, one bank at a time, one currency swap at a time. The momentum is growing. The tipping point draws near, and when it arrives, the world will wake up changed. SWIFT will no longer be untouchable. The dollar will no longer be supreme. Beijing will command the pulse of global trade. Imagine waking up to a new order overnight. Markets in free fall, governments scrambling for stability, investors panicking at every screen, the old system collapsing like a dying empire, and in the chaos, China standing firm, offering its network as the future, promising order where the West failed, promising stability in exchange for loyalty. This is the financial Cold War, but colder, quieter, deadlier. Not fought with bombs, but with banks. Not fought with armies, but with algorithms. A silent war where every nation is a target. And every citizen is a soldier without knowing it. Your money, your savings, your future, all hang in the balance of this hidden struggle. Because China's plan to replace SWIFT is not tomorrow. It is today.